on the front of here. These would have been the nearest contemporary to the Gato class, Vallejo class, or Tench classes of submarines, which we used primarily in World War II. You're probably a lot more familiar with the German submarines. Most of the time, when you have a movie with an American submarine, they don't even say the name of the class of submarine. You hear the name of it, like the Lionfish or the Sea Tiger, things like that, but they never tell you it's a Gato class or a Vallejo class. Anyway, I want to tell you about the Battle of the Philippine Sea. None of my heroes kill people. That's not what makes a hero to me. Not even close. But I do want to tell you about a battle against adversity and how one person can make a lot of difference with just a little bit of help. I get by with a little help from my friends. I get by with a little help from my friends. All right. So let's tell you about Captain Dealy. Captain Dealy, he was ordered, as every other submariner was ordered, to avoid contact with enemy destroyers. Now, with the incredible effect that destroyers of our own were having against the Germans at the time, and yeah, it's quite incredible the way all of the structure and the command and the assumptions that were thrown out there were just really thrown out there in a stupid way. Well, Commander Dealy, he had different ideas about it. It was believed that a submarine could not sink a destroyer. Imagine that. If you put a hole in the bottom of it, well, how do you intend to do that? Oh, I intend to do it with a torpedo. Would that not be the obvious answer? Of course it would. Anyway, there was a pretty big force. I'm not sure if you guys ever heard of the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot. There's a reason that it was so one-sided. It wasn't just the lack of well-trained pilots. It's also the severe lack of destroyer escorts. Here's what happened. This guy Harder, who was told not to be sinking destroyers, he blew one out the water 900 yards away, coming straight for him. And over the next few days, I mean, blatantly with other destroyers around. And he kept on doing it. He actually sank a grand total of 5 destroyers, something that, well, he was ordered not to do because it was impossible. And here he did it 5 times in one mission. More importantly, he was outside of the directed target area. And the Japanese thought there was something very important out there. There must be something important out there for there to be that many submarines. I mean, oh my God, there's enough submarines that the submarines sank 5 of our destroyers. Holy crap. We need to send more destroyers out there to hunt the subs. But there was no giant fleet of submarines. Just one. So by the time the Battle of the Philippine Sea started, there was 0 destroyers to speak of to protect 3 full carrier groups. Now, I don't know if you guys pay much attention to who's supposed to be doing the shooting and protecting who in this scenario, but them destroyers are what protects that fucking aircraft carrier from those fucking dive bombers. That's what does it. Them destroyers shoot down them enemy aircraft. That's what their job is to do. There's a lot more firepower on them destroyers than people want to give them credit for. Destroyers, destroyer escorts, yes, very much so. Bristling with gunfire. Now, in a night attack, an aircraft carrier is supposed to not fire. It's supposed to turn off all of its lights, and it's supposed to let its escorts do the fighting for it so that it doesn't become a target. Hitting a big-ass carrier, it's a lot bigger a target than a destroyer. It's going to be a lot easier to friggin' smack into. Now, this Captain Dealy feller in the USS Harder knocking down 5 destroyers in short order, getting all of those other ships out of there, made it the one-sided battle that it was, not just the Marianas Turkey shoot, but also the lopsided naval battle that took place. Most of those destroyers were fine. They were still trolling around looking for those submarines to sink them and keeping their eyes out for an American force that was nowhere near there. It was brilliant and purely by accident. I don't mean he sank the enemy destroyers by accident. I mean that the ultimate outcome of that was not just the loss of those 5 destroyers, but also the loss of all of the other destroyers that were sent out there. Because they weren't at the battle. They weren't at their post to protect who they needed to, because they were off chasing a ghost. A whole ghost fleet, they thought. 20 to 30 submarines, they believed. I mean, how brazen you would have to be to go after a target like a destroyer with torpedoes. When you're the victim of abuse, and you need people to listen to you so they can be on the same page, but they all want you to be on their page. They all want you to listen to them and understand them. It's their turn to talk. It's their turn to be heard. I think we can all understand that. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to pull up your big boy undies and say, hey, we got to do something. Helping your friends out is as beneficial for you as it is for them. When it comes to our rights being violated, when you look the other way and you allow that to happen to your friends, you're begging it to happen to you. Here's what I mean, especially when it comes to law enforcement. Once you have allowed it to become what's called a legal precedence, when a legal precedence is set, they can use that legal precedence against anyone. That includes you. This is why no matter how many laws that they use to make it illegal to victimize a person of color, they're not going to be able to enforce it. The biggest problem that we have with effective change against this is that we've got victims fighting over who's the most victimized instead of helping each other out. Oh God, we can't help you out. You're white and we're BLM. Well, why not? Can we not see other human beings as human beings? Why are some human beings considered less human beings or lesser human beings? Just because you don't think that it can be done doesn't mean it can't be done. Just because you don't think it'll mean anything at all doesn't mean it doesn't make a lot of difference. Doesn't mean that it can't change things globally. The invasion of Saipan was so much easier because of the USS Harder and because those people worked together on that boat. The victim, even if they're disabled, needs to be allowed to be the captain of their ship when it comes to turning in their abuse. They know what's going on better than you do. If you did care about them, you'd listen to them and the abuse that they're going through. You would try to understand why it needs to be turned in. Instead of telling them you don't understand why, how about stop and listen? They're trying to explain. The last thing the victim needs from you is you being a peanut gallery at them or interrupting them repeatedly for things that they're trying to tell you. You want to repeatedly ask them 20 questions and grill them. All these people telling me I'm smart. Like, man, Sean, you're the smartest guy I know. You're the most honest guy I know. Yeah, but did you tell anybody else that? Or are you just blowing smoke up my ass? See, my predators want to pretend like I'm a chronic liar. Like everything that I have ever said, ever, must be a lie. They try to pretend that you people that I went to don't exist. They pretend that the stories that you told were untrue, and they had to. Because if they even acknowledged that you existed in court, or on their paperwork or documentation, then their whole fucking world would have unraveled. Thank goodness the captain aboard the USS Harder didn't have a crew full of cowards. Hey, Captain, I know you want to sink that destroyer, but, you know, I'd really like to go back to Pearl and dance with some hula girls. Hey, Captain, you know, I know you want to sink that destroyer, but, you know, I'd really like to be able to go swimming for a few and maybe take a crap before I die. Hey, Captain, you know, we've got orders not to blow that up, and I would really, really, really like to not have to get a court-martial for not following instructions. The captain in that situation knew the right thing to do, and there were people that bitched at him and thought it was the wrong thing to do, and he proved them all wrong. Not just one, but 5 enemy destroyers. Pulled away at least 230 other destroyers. Got my recording device. Alright, so after the assault at Tillamook Health, they've had automated harassment. Alright, I need to turn in Tillamook Health for the assault that happened. Alright? The assault happened 3 days ago. I just got a harassment call from them assholes. After multiple harassment texts about my condition. You're an automated piece of crap. That you have a name? Okay, if you name your electronic response Emma, it's still an electronic response. That's not a human being. How am I supposed to turn in Tillamook Health? Or, let me see what this says here. Dr. Stephen L. Stephanides. Stephanides. It's on my wristband. Lucky me I found that. Do I know whether or not that's the doctor who assaulted me? No. I know that that's the wristband they gave me when I got to the hospital. This is the thing. I need help stopping abuse. And I need people to stop blowing me off and telling me to jump through every hoop except turning in my predators. Because it costs me a lot of money, and a lot of time to keep jumping from place to place to place to place, because apparently it's not illegal to victimize the fuck out of me no matter where I go. It is always not only acceptable, but encouraged. Of course it's encouraged. Who would discourage them? Is James doing anything to discourage them? No. Is Desiree doing anything to discourage them? No. Is my older brother doing anything to discourage them? No. How about my little sister? Again, no. How about Brandon Ratner? Nope. How about Ariana? Nope. How about Candace Bondurant? Even after I exposed the fact that I told the truth, that she fucking lied and did all that fucking stupid bullshit, even then, she still want to play the whole Shaggy thing. Wasn't me. Wasn't me. Wasn't me. Oh, wait, no. It ain't like that at all, is it? She's too afraid to even say that. After slandering the shit out of me. Guaranteeing that all of the people who are going to try to help me were cut off from doing so. All of them. Candace Bondurant slandered my name to a group of people who were trying to help me. And she went out her way. Yeah, she used my words to do it. But she had to do something that I don't do, which is just pick and choose the parts that you want to show and hide the parts that you don't. I don't pretend I'm not an asshole. I have to be. That's what you don't fucking get. If I tell you nicely or ask you nicely, you will make me do so for 6 years. If I'm an asshole, you will fucking stop and at least pretend to address the situation for about 30 goddamn seconds. Then you'll tell me you're fucking sorry, and you'll fucking treat me like shit because you're a fucking idiot. But you know what? I keep telling the truth. I keep showing the truth. It's not that I didn't try to get help. It's that people didn't fucking care. These people act like they have to drop their entire lives for 10 fucking years to tell the fucking truth. Like, holy shit, dude. Are you that fucking stupid? You're gonna pretend like it's that fucking much just to open your fucking mouth? And then there's all these people who claim that they want to care or claim they want to help. And then, of course, it comes down to what? They get pissed off. And when I ask them, hey, why won't you help me in that way? Nearly all of them end up screaming so that you can actually hear them screaming these things. Because nobody helped me when it happened to me. Now, I know about some of the situations that these people have gone through where they said that, and I can tell you on the ones that I was aware of, yes, people did fucking speak up. With John Fox, Sean David Schwartz spoke up. And as a result, John Fox wasn't killed for something he didn't do. When it comes to Christopher Weaver, yeah, Christopher Weaver could have been beaten up and or killed and at least run out of town if I hadn't told the truth about him. Immediately. When messed up people go doing fucked up shit like that, you don't let it fucking grow and fester for years. You don't make an at-risk and disabled adult fucking scream for help while fucking doing everything that you tell them to do. Spending all of their money because you're going to help them if they do this, aren't you? But do you ever? Do you ever actually follow through with your word? The reason that at-risk adults are at-risk adults is because of all of you. You get to see through all of this how I am treated by literally every single person. Many of them have good intentions, but their ability to listen does not fucking exist. Why did you offer to do these things if you did not have the ability? Were you aware that you did not have the ability when you offered to do those things? After you had wasted my time for a year and a half promising to do those things and you never followed through. Whose fault is that? Is it the victim's fault that you literally never made time to come forward and tell the truth? No, it's not. The difference between having justice and having this is whether or not you have a friend who actually cares. I get to hear their lip service, same as you do. I get to hear them saying these things. Over and over and over I hear them saying these things. But are they actually listening to the fucking victim? No. No. When I go to mandated reporters and they don't try to turn it in right away like they're supposed to, that's not my fault. And thank goodness for me, I recorded the fact that I did try to get help. All these people that I went to try to get help, when the police said that I didn't try to get help, they were slandering my name. When the police said that people wouldn't help me, they were slandering the name of every single person who tried to help. But not one of them ever came forward. Knowing that I was being lied about, and so were they, not one of them cared to come forward. They didn't care how much abuse I went through. They didn't care how many people's children were threatened. They didn't care because they were selfish. The first people the Nazis went after were the homeless and the mentally ill. That also happens to be the first people that witch hunters went after in the 1700s. Happens to be the same people that, of course, the Romans went after during their conquests and during their purges and seizures. It also happens to be the people that were left in Rome when the papacy took it over and had everyone in Rome slaughtered. The homeless and disabled don't matter, do they? Sure, as a disabled person, I'm supposed to have certain rights, correct? As an American citizen, I'm supposed to have certain rights, correct? Well, as a homeless person, it means I'm not an American citizen. And it means I can't be disabled, doesn't it? Meanwhile, the things that you associate with autism are more commonly associated with trauma responses to long-term abuse, as I've been saying for years, and showing you and posting you the evidence and the training manuals and the training videos. I also speak up the best I can on my own. And most days I'm lucky I'm able to speak. I speak when I'm too afraid to do anything else. But I'm not so afraid that I am just sitting here screaming internally, trying not to make it external. God damn, they're all too short. I'm gonna have to roll another one. I told you addicts are selfish people. It's tough for them not to be. Everything has to be about them. A lot of times, many of those addicts have been through trauma of their own. And they feel it's owed to them that everybody should listen to them. They don't stop at any point in time to see anyone else as a possible victim. If another victim comes to them, that victim needs to shut up. It's your turn to talk. Your turn to talk. Now, two of the groups that I get this the most out of, the three groups I get this out of the most is the LGBT community. I get a lot of it from women, and I get it a lot from black people. Each of these groups talking about how they've got it the worst. I've got women here in Tillamook telling me how much worse they have it here in Tillamook than any of the men, and how there's no way that the police would ever mess with men worse than they mess with women. Now, these women are batshit fucking crazy, though. Like, we're talking about full-on delusions and aliens and Illuminati kind of stuff coming out of their mouth, which is complete insanity. The reality is 96% of those killed by police every year are men. 49% of those killed by police every year are homeless. 51% of those killed by police every year are disabled. So between myself and a woman, I'm a lot more likely to be killed by a cop. "96% of the time, I'm the one who's likely to be killed. 4% of the time, a female is. But sure, a man has it easier, sure. The homeless account for 49% of those killed by police in 2019. Out of the population size that is only 1/120th the size of the black population. 1/120th the size. And they account for more than double the number of homicides by police. 22% of those killed by police in 2019 were black. 49% of those were homeless. If the homeless had the same population as the black population, the police would have killed over 48,000 homeless people in 2019. 48,000. That's quite significant. Per capita, the homeless are number one. Per capita, if the homeless had the same population size as the black population or the disabled population, then the homeless would account for over 99% of those killed by police. And it's such a small number of people, too, that they're so easy to railroad. Nobody cares. You throw your junkies and addicts out here on us. You claim you love your family, and then you throw them out on the streets to take advantage of us. Or to freeze to death on our streets within a week. Or to overdose on a street corner and make things bad for all of us, while all of us get treated like we're that junkie son of yours who you just didn't care. Captain Dealy was a lucky man. He got to change the world, and then he got to die before people fucked it all up. What a lucky man.